My name is Tamara Platisha, and I'm the head of jewelry at Carpenters Workshop Gallery. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you here today for the second edition of our Jewelry Talk series. As many of you may know, Carpenters Workshop Gallery specializes in the intersection of art, design, and craftsmanship. We produce and exhibit limited edition works by internationally acclaimed artists, designers, and architects looking to expand past the confines of traditional gallery and art fair spaces. Jewelry forms a vital part of the gallery's work in pushing the boundaries between conventional artistic genres and championing the finest in contemporary creativity. Our jewelry artists, they work in a multitude of approaches, materials, aesthetics, representing the remarkable richness of today's contemporary jewelry design and wearable art, and are always pushing the boundaries of how the body can be adorned. On that note, tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce you to two artists that we've collaborated with, Ute Decker and Kayo Saito, who will be in conversation with Melanie Grant. Ute Decker is a jewelry designer best known for her minimalist yet powerful sculptural jewelry. Her work has been exhibited in major and public and private collections such as the Victoria and Albert Museum and a special commission for the Dallas Museum of Art in Texas, which I'll have the pleasure of seeing next month. And Kayo Saito, who finds inspiration in nature and organic forms. Through carefully chosen materials and designs, she creates unusually delicate and sculptural forms in the shape of precious jewelry. Finally, we have Melanie Grant, journalist, editor, and curator specializing in jewelry, luxury, and sustainability, and the crossover between art and adornment. She has over 20 years' experience in journalism, has curated exhibitions, and has spoken at major international institutions. These three incredible and talented women speakers are here today to tell us about the role of freedom and fear in jewelry design. So thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoy the conversation, and I'll hand it over to Melanie, Ute, and Kayo.
Right, thanks everyone. Can everyone hear me at the back? I'm usually quite loud. Excellent. Good, thumbs up at the back, that's what we like to see. So, today we're going to talk about freedom and fear, because I'm a huge believer that you need both to really delve into jewelry at a deep level. And I'm going to sort of just leap in, really. And I'm going to start with Ute. And so, Ute, we're leaping in. In the first part of your life, you studied political economics in Germany and worked as a journalist. How did you find your way from that to jewellery?
Well, probably in a similarly straight line as my necklace. Yes, I studied political economics in Hamburg, then I studied languages, and I wanted to change the world. So I thought if you're a journalist and you tell the truth, obviously the world was going to change. And I did an internship at the UN as well and realized that the truth does not change the world. And I was a bit lost for a while then, a bit disappointed, one could say. And so, because I studied languages, I found myself running a legal and financial translation agency purely by accident. So we're maybe on this one now. And to balance this, I went to lots of evening classes when they were still affordable. So I did large-scale sculptures in wood, in metal, in stone, paper, philosophy, photography, anything. And it was the small sculptures, the small metal pieces that I came back to over and over again. And I guess I loved larger scale sculpture, but if you've got a small flat, and also I don't really like, or I loved them sitting on the table, but I wanted them to be more alive, to actually have them maybe with me. And so for some reason I always tried the small sculptures, like, oh, how can I put my arm through to carry them with me? So I'm a total, by now I'm kind of here, an accidental jeweler. And yes, I am absolutely fascinated by those sculptures, and I'm still only at the beginning, I guess.
I love that. I love how metal draws you in. I'm not sure what I've done there. How metal draws you in. Because people always think it's stones, but often it's metal that is your first calling, I found, as a jewellery lover. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah. With metal, just because I change my mind a lot. And so working with larger scale sculptures, and I've actually been commissioned to make large scale sculptures, and I worked with some of the best fabricators who do all the work for the YBAs, and they've done a fantastic job. But it came back and I thought, oh, maybe if we could just turn this a bit. Which of course, when massive stainless steel piece, you can't just. So I think I find it much more exciting to play with the smaller scale. I think as long as I can still move it myself, that is a happy scale. So I'm happy to do larger sculptures, but as long as I can. And being undecided, with wood, when you take something away, it's like, or stone. But with metal, if you bend something, you might just be able to bend it another way and correct a little bit, which you can't with a lot of the other materials.
And so, Kayo, you were an industrial designer in Japan before coming across the new jewellery book, which sounds fascinating. And that changed the course of your career. So what is interesting is that you didn't like jewellery much beforehand. So this is the power of books, which I love. What happened to you?
Yes, that's true. I didn't like jewelry, actually. It's because I was studying industrial design and craft design in Japanese art college. And then metal was my major, and jewelry was option. And so I learned, but that was more very traditional and very practical side of jewelry. So nobody told me about contemporary jewelry that time. I'm talking about like maybe 30 years ago. And that time, so my interest wasn't there at all. So I graduated and I became an industrial designer, designing in the company, mass-produced tableware. So then I was working in a team and many other salesperson to the technicians and all the big team in the company. That was quite nice to work with. And but mass produce, of course, there was a fun in it, and you see your product in a restaurant or something like, bar. It's in a department store. That kind of things is really fascinated. It was interesting. However, I started beginning to feel working in the company as a designer and as a woman. I felt so much limitation, as well as a lot of, compromise. So gradually, I was kind of like looking for something else to do, something the whole life I can continue. And that was the time I encountered the book. It's the jewelry book, the new jewelry book. And that's so blew my mind. It's really fascinating to see the world of contemporary jewelry. It's out there, and there's no boundary for jewelry. I thought that was like an adornment, and the value of itself is a material value. But then another world completely. It's the value itself is what kind of, the artist put into the narrative. That's completely changed my mind. And that's why I thought, I have to study this abroad. And that was why I came here.
I love the fact that we're in our own world, because I think we are. Everyone in the audience can agree with that we are actually in our own world. And so a question to you both. At the beginning of your journeys, when you were considering what inspired and provoked you, did you experience any transformational moments through an art movement? I say this because we've got some great art here. Anything leap out at you from a movement?
There's so many interesting movements, and I think all the movements have something interesting. Generally, I tend to have my own mind, and isms, modernism, constructivism, all of those isms are maybe too narrow. And what I completely forgot to mention when the first question is, I grew up in the vineyards in Germany, the Rhine Valley, and I almost lost my track because my mind wanders a lot, which is good in the studio when you discover new things, not when you're trying to concentrate. But I already as a child in the vineyards, it's the kind of stewardship. It's about, I love the kind of fallen leaves. I love certain things. And it's only later when a friend gave me a book, the kind of wabi-sabi for artists and architects and, that I thought, oh my God, I'm not on my own. This is actually an ancient philosophy. It's more that I discover those philosophies that I already have a sensibility for, and then find it fascinating that they could actually express the things that I feel so much better than I could ever in words. So yes, some of my work might look as if it's Bauhaus constructivism and all those kind of things, and some of them, but I think Bauhaus is maybe too cold, not human enough. The constructivism is too much propaganda, even though, of course, I am an activist as well. So it's, I think we're all just a mixture of, I think if I would have grown up in a different culture, I would be inspired by completely different things in a subconscious way. So it's a mix.
Yes. I just thought about, I was industrial designer, and I already said, frustration in it. And yes, it's, to me, it's, I really value handmade products, and the mass produce is kind of lost the connection between the human being and the object. And that I felt by myself really personal, kind of like a gut feeling. And so art and craft movement, that's, for me, it's I felt by myself in industrial designer and then craft person, and that kind of shift is I felt in my body. It is what we trying to do here is really, using our own hand and from our imagination to create something, individual pieces, and we all doing so different way, and that's actually, it is a beauty, and I'm so glad I found a way to be here, and rather than just, continuing to product design.
I mean, I love what you both said about, you have this unique experience, and then it sort of becomes something that you created. If we go back to the core theme of the talk, of freedom and fear, how did fear, and we can include terror and joy and all these other things in between, propel you both forward as artists? And it's quite scary to even talk about this, so you're brave.
Yeah, we'll go fast. It's like, well, this is a scary moment for me. It's a fear. Yes, I do. I would rather working in my little workshop and working alone. But anyway, I use my inspiration coming from the nature, and that is kind of probably if people knows my work, that's first things coming to the mind. Yes, nature is beautiful, but in me, that's not all. It's the nature is vast, and the nature is powerful and beyond our control. It's kind of, yes, the fear included, and especially like I was born and raised in Japan, and the country has a lot of earthquakes, and when you actually there, and the small shakes you get used to, you don't really think about it. But when it's getting like a stronger one, very sudden kind of strong shake, it's a whole thing, your world is shaking. You feel you're very, very vulnerable, and it's scary, very, very scary, and you don't know, you're out of your control, you don't really know what's going to happen next. That kind of fear is there, and so kind of.
Kayo, can I delve a bit deeper beyond the earthquake?
Yeah.
And I'm
I know.
going to ask you, what was the scariest thing that you've done work-wise?
Oh, work-wise. Okay, it's just work-wise, scary things.
Okay,
But but I feel like to me, it's like that kind of fear connecting me to the nature. So I feel myself it's having a gap between kind of, I'm city girl, born and raised in the city. So it's like I feel always the gap between the nature and myself. That's the kind of fear as well. And kind of like this is Shinto beliefs in Japan. It's like God is everywhere, because people scared to the nature too, and so the animism is a God is everywhere in nature. Is rocks, rivers, mountains, and everywhere. We worship them because I think in the core, it's very much, beyond yourself, beyond your understanding, that kind of things. And why I'm using this nature as my medium, because it's kind of worshipping, but at the same time, it's I wanted to connect with them, but it's not. I cannot. So that's remind me I wanted to connect it. Yes.
Ute, fear.
Yes.
That's somebody who knows you in the audience, I think. Yes.
While thinking about it, sorry. While thinking about it, yeah, exactly. That's the number fear. Fear number one, being on stage. Something happens, terrible, big fear. I made a list of things that maybe as an artist you could fear. I came up with about 20. Maybe I remember about 5 now, because fear of not remembering what you wanted to say on the stage is also number one. But But for each of the fears, it's the second part of your question, there will be a joy coming afterwards, the list. I guess the fear of the so-called blank canvas is always there, you know, when you start to work. The fear of actually yourself being unsure, not liking the piece, not quite getting there, you know, you spend weeks and that line is just not going the right way. The fear that they will discover that you're an imposter. The fear of commissions. Terror, pure terror.
Is that fear getting them or not getting them, or when you get them, not liking them?
Oh no, when I get them, I always say I don't take on commissions because I like making whatever comes to my own mind, and then I don't have to justify to anybody. Nobody has to like it. It's just what comes out, and then somebody finds it and likes it or doesn't. And if they don't, in a way that's great as well, because then I can wear the pieces. So that's a win-win. But when you get a commission, somebody trusts in you. Somebody has expectations, and I only take on commissions when I know people really well, when I know that we have similar sensibilities, when we look at works and we both go, oh, that's and then it's like, okay, then maybe. But still, you know, I think, oh yeah, sure. And then I labor over it. I'm so anxious. Will they like it? Will they not like it? Oh no, it's terrible. I can't possibly show it. And then I say, I never ever do take on a commission again, ever. This is just so many weeks of sleepless nights, terror. And then the person comes and says, oh my God, that's wonderful. I wouldn't have imagined. And then they wear it forever, and that's the joy. It's like, thank God, and I'll never take on a commission again. Having said that, I've been working on nothing but commissions since December. It's like, it's kind of a masochist. But anyway, so those are the joys then coming out. The blank canvas fear is, of course, the joy of making new discoveries. You know, I mean, if you already know what you're doing, then to me and many other artists have said that the idea is already dead because you're just illustrating the idea. But if you don't know exactly what you're doing and you surprise yourself and you discover something, that's really exciting. So it's I think we both, and if you never have any fear, I guess I feel in any way of life, that means you haven't really pushed yourself enough.
Yeah, I think the secret is to quite like being scared. I think if you're creative, it's quite hard to not be scared. Otherwise, how do you know you're alive? I mean, you could actually be an AI and not know it. I don't know. So this is interesting. I find it quite an interesting topic. How scared should you be? So we'll carry on with this. So making and selling jewellery, as we know in this audience, is very scary generally, and often comes with uncertainty. Has that, or the making in general, changed since you started?
I guess going back to your fear thing again, I mean, if anybody is investing in gold, can you please stop? Oh. It's like, I'm not too sure whether you're that different, but we use gold and silver because it has properties that you can, you bend it and it has a strength and thing. And it doesn't tarnish, and it's just a perfect material, not its preciousness. I couldn't care less about that. But now it's a real fear touching that metal. The freedom is gone because you're so scared of the material, the material cost.
Not to wasting it.
Not to waste it. And also, I have wonderful clients and they have to think about a certain amount. But at this kind of amount, nobody even needs to think. I don't have the kind of oligarch, and this is not where I'm aiming at. So I think this is actually existential now with the gold price. I mean, showing at Goldsmiths
Yes,
Fair,
it
that's the
is,
only discussion we all have. It is an existential, but then it's similar, coming back to your fear and joy, and if you can't use, you just have to discover something else. You know, I think this could also be a really exciting moment of us discovering different ways, of different materials, different. So it could be exciting, but for now, I think for a lot, it is existential.
Any
Yeah.
thoughts, Kayo?
Well, fear, I mean, it's, yes, completely ugly. I mean, we all jurors get together, what's the only one subject we talk. It's, but anyway, yeah, it's fear. As a maker, maybe maker, I mean, as a creator, need some kind of like a joy, fear, excitement, you know, all these things, we have to feel it to get to the next stage, I think. Otherwise, it's so flat and it's not going to go anywhere, I think. So yes, that's yeah, things. But if my fear can be, it's like a repeating, because we both probably working, maybe not, I'm working like 20-something years, you know, being a jeweler, and it's getting long, yes, and then it's that kind of like a fear, maybe not as much as fear, but it's a get bored if you're repeating the same things, and that I can feel it, and then when you feel it, it's just really scared to myself, because that's the worst things, yes, you so bored what you're making, and so that's to me, I wanted to something, you know, have to change, have to adding or something, you know, and funnily, this is my career from the beginning. I was making a paper jewelry. It's a paper. It's not this one. Some of them showing my very, very early work, paper jewelry, and then polyester fiber, and then became metal, using metal, and now I changed to not changing. Sorry, it's the adding to stones. And but stones, I'm carving by myself. So buying a rock like this, and then start carving to the shape I want to have, and then wood. It's all kind of like a changing materials gives me joy. It's freedom. We're talking about, you know, fear a lot, but freedom as well. And then people say, nothing to waste in your life. I feel like that is all the different materials I went through that gives, you know, each materials learning culture, you know, always learning something new is, yeah, difficult. Gathering different materials, gathering different tools, and it's each stage, it's different, but that's adding to character into the next material. Does it make sense? It's like, for example, paper character going into the metal character too. So it's kind of like gradually changing, but that's quite, to me, it's get out from the boredom.
Freedom and fear, kind of undulating. Okay, so can you know too much in your 20-something years of making? Was it better in the beginning when you were carefree and clueless? Were you freer knowing less?
Shall I go first?
Please.
Just brings me back the, you know, the careless freedom. That's my college days, students, and fearless. You know, you really wanted to do something you really purely, you know, not thinking about anything else. Don't think about the customer. Don't think about how to sell. It's the purely making time. That's freedom, and I'm glad I had quite a long time, this kind of college time, and the time was not precious as now. You can spend as much as you want, and that kind of time is, it's helping me as well. I cannot be here like this, making that kind of things if I didn't have that kind of stage.
I guess that is the tension for every artist. I think Picasso was saying he was trying throughout all of his career to paint like a child again. I don't think we would say that he would paint better if he had no skills, if he hadn't been trained. I think it's that tension of keeping the rawness, of keeping the emotion in the piece, of keeping the first brush stroke. I mean, sometimes the maquettes are like incredibly powerful. But it's also having those skills, which is like a language, that you can express yourself. So it is always that dilemma of trying to unlearn or be freer. It's that kind of sense of an empty mind. But it's not easy, you know, it's not easy when you have to think of, oh, I need to respond to this email, and when you really have to fight for those hours in the studio, those uninterrupted hours. But yes, it's a tension, and it's you know, it's a good tension.
And you mentioned trained because, you know, one sort of conversation we have in the industry is it better to be trained or untrained? Do you have a view, both of you?
I think, I mean, I'm untrained.
Oh, really?
But I've spent thousands and thousands of hours of learning of how to do it. And I could have done it quicker in 3 years of university, even though I must say, when I see now who comes out of universities, when some of the students want to become interns, they can't. The skills are shocking. So actually, you know, the big question is, where do you get training? You know, there are very few places in the UK where you can get really good training.
Oh.
Oh.
Talk about training. Who's touching their boyfriend's banana? That is the funniest audience participation I've had in my 27 years as a journalist. We're going to have to put that on social media, somebody. I think is that trained or untrained?
Yeah, untrained.
Well, that loosened the thing up.
Yeah, it does.
You
It
know,
loosens
it's
it up.
like we might pivot and discover a completely new discussion now.
Yeah. We're going to have to try and drag our minds back to jewellery.
Yes, sorry, what was the question?
Trained or untrained? I think
Untrained or untrained?
we were trying to get very serious and very profound.
Yes.
And you were saying, where can you get trained?
Yeah.
And then the banana came up.
Yeah. It's like, so I think university is no longer the place where you get technical training, and I think...
Another one.
That's a very untrained audience.
How are you? We've got to train these audiences a lot more.
So,
Yes.
yes, if Keith Jarrett were on the stage now. Trained. Yes, I think
Well,
I am untrained, but I've spent thousands of hours.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Do you feel you wanted to be trained, or you are happy in the way you developed to? You kept saying untrained. I don't think so, but yes.
Yes. Well, I guess to quote somebody, incredible deep quotation. I know what I know. I know what I don't know, and I don't know what I don't know. So it's like, you know, it's, oh, was it Jerome Powell or something?
Oh.
You know, it's that famous quote that everybody laughed about, and then actually it's like, actually, you know, it is quite, you know, I'm aware what I know what I know, I'm aware what I don't know, but there's so many things I haven't even a clue that I don't know them. And it is exciting.
know.
I mean, I'm excited when another jeweler tells me, oh, you can use this plier for that. And it's like, oh my God. It's like, oh my God, you know, it's like, I think it's really exciting amongst makers to talk. It's like, oh, how do you get, you know, it's like, I think Kentridge, when he was saying, you know, what's the most exciting thing that happened the last month or so, and he said, oh, I got a really great blue crayon when I was in Paris. You know, it's that blue is exciting. So it's like, I think we makers get excited about things that maybe other human people might not get as excited about. So yes, I get as excited about a certain kind of plier or something. But the thing is, if you don't know something, you have to figure out a way how to express myself. And also, I think, you know, some of those artists said if you already know, if you have a brilliant idea, you shouldn't do it because you already know what you're doing. So then you're just illustrating the idea. You know, just push it further, jump into the open,
So
and
back to the fear.
and
again.
back to the fear, but also back to a certain freedom. And also that's kind of technically, if I don't know how to get there, I'm really going big roundabout ways and discovering something completely different. So if you had learned how to do it, I would not have to go and discover it. But it's a tension, you know, both are very important.
I'm sensing some trained energy from Kayo. Kayo, are you having a thought here?
Yes. Well, interesting because you know you said you're not trained, and I feel, you know, I had enough time to learn, but I never satisfied, never felt I'm trained either. It's because, you know, each time you make something, you learn something new, and you never stop learning. So it's like, I don't know when I can say I'm trained, I'm professional, you know, it's always I'm in the process. I wanted to getting better, and I want getting more, and you know, always in a process. Yes, that's I feel.
So it's never enough, even if you are trained.
Well, but
Yes.
having said so, it's important to learn how to do. I'm not saying just make in how to do, because then you kind of knows the boundary or not. It's if you don't know, you don't even know where the boundary is.
Yeah, I think we're talking about learning your craft, and I think that can apply to writing, making jewellery,
And
anything where you're
anything,
creative. You have to
yes.
learn your craft with other craftspeople
That is
sometimes.
yes, it's
sometimes on your
ABC
own.
for
Yeah.
the language. So I do believe, you know, anybody want to try to make a jewelry, it's learn the ABC. It's quite important, and still the, you know, how can I say, it's through the experience. I make many mistakes, and you know, each customer has got different body shape, and also somebody for the person is perfectly matched, because, for example, like the angle of neck or where the earring pierced, and it's each person slightly different. If you're making small earrings, that doesn't matter. But it's more like a sculpture or a bigger one, or, you know, you really need to know where the weight goes. And those kind of things, is each client is different, and each time you learn, each piece you learn. So yeah, it's need to know ABC, I think.
Yes, and I think I'm like such a, I mean, I started making jewelry just for myself, but I feel such an advantage to be of wearing it, because with those, how do you know as a man jeweler, and there's some amazing male jewelers, but I need to wear things. I need large pieces. You need to wear it for weeks to see where the balance is and how
I think
comfortable
they're
it
secretly
is.
wearing all of it.
Sorry?
I think they're secretly wearing all of it.
That's
I
it.
think
yeah.
I think it must be very hard. It's like a chef, you know, you've got to taste it to know,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm sure lots of
but it's a
jewelers who are
torso,
men wear
and
them.
I usually put torso in my workshop, and every single thing.
Yeah. But you don't, you know,
between,
this is going to move, you know, when.
Yeah.
Yeah, movement.
So it's
yeah,
kind of
true. Movement.
yeah.
Is involved in.
So what do you admire about each other's practices?
Shall we?
Can I start?
You start.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, Kayo was already practiced. So when I came and discovered jewelry, Kayo was already. And I think it's almost like a hand movement when I feel like Kayo's. It's like it's a certain precious. It's a gentle. You feel. It's a gentle movement. It's a kind. You feel kind of protected. You feel. There is a really beautiful sensibility in the jewelry that there is a warmth to it that I really find, and because each petal is also different, and it's just like a nice person, you know. It's like, you know, it's very much work is like she is.
Yes,
So, yeah.
all the works, our works, yes, it's reflect what we are. Yes, for Ute's work, it's we both describe our works as a small sculpture. Yes,
Yeah.
is we using that word, and it's kind of like describing the same way, but the result is so different. It's our personality showing to the pieces. I really admire your bravery. Is to make it such a kind of like a simplicity. You cannot go into simpler than this. You know, that's quite bravery, I think. And calculations, and also controlled, I think. It's that's you know, something I don't have it. And yes, that's very admirable. And also your piece it's complete to me. It's very completed when it's the part of body involved in. You know, it's obviously itself is a sculpture, but when you especially look, I love this bracelet. It's when the hand going in, the arm going in, then it's like a complete sculpture completed. And that is very clever, very, yes, simple, but how can I say, it's, what is the word it can be? I'm trying to looking. It's it's a clever. Sorry, yes, sorry, but yes, that I wanted to say. It's just it completed with the body, which is quite important. You know, not as a just object. And that's things. And I really wanted to ask, because I think your workshop can be very, very tidy.
Oh. Who would have guessed it?
Because my one is not. You know, it's when I make something, it's really like mess, and yes. But I
If
don't
you
know.
don't
because,
tell anybody, I do tidy up slightly before photographers come in. But I'm a minimalist. I wish I could have 3 objects in my flat and 3 objects in my studio. I'm a minimalist trapped in a collector's body. So, yes.
Yes. Well, I wanted to.
It's like, oh, that tool could be useful, or maybe that could. Oh, yes, sure, of course. Yes.
I wanted to be minimalist, but never be able to.
I just love the difference in the outfits as well. Just sort of sitting here, you've got the neon and you've got the black, and it's it's giving me kind of like there could be a show here at some point, like an online show. So what have you two got coming up this year? Just if anyone in the audience wants to see more of you and your work, anything we should know about?
Actually, I'm just still showing at the Maastricht.
Yeah.
TEFAF, some of them.
Congratulations! That's not easy to get into.
I know I'm not showing it by myself. It's the other galleries doing it, and that's quite nice. Then we don't know yet about the Goldsmiths Fair. Not
I hear
yet.
on the grapevine that gets announced next week.
Ah, okay.
Yes,
So
fear.
yeah,
Fear.
fear. Exactly. We don't know yet. So yes, but probably both of us then. Yes, don't know yet. Yes, let's hope. Yes, and PAD. I think. Are you?
Yes,
are you
tomorrow.
doing
What's going on at
PAD?
PAD?
And
Yes, there's a yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Good. And another thing, can I just say,
Sure.
is I'm going to do one day, this is the first time I'm doing one day master class at Forge in London Craft Week. So that's anybody who'd like to join and bashing metal with me. So it'd be nice.
Sounds great. Love a bash a bit of metal with you, Kayo. So any closing thoughts on our themes of freedom and fear? Are they natural bedfellows? Can one exist without the other? Do you enjoy both equally when it comes to jewellery?
Well, first, I'm going to say also where people can see my work,
Oh yes.
which is upstairs.
Yes.
Both
yes,
of ours,
of course.
obviously. In that, both of our work is in the fabulous exhibition with all female artists, so definitely worth seeing. Then until yesterday, Elisabetta Cipriani had the fabulous earring exhibition. I think many here in the audience will have been to Cockpit. I'm based at Cockpit. We're 100 different makers. I think 20 different disciplines, from ceramics to textiles to anything. So that's for your diary, the 4th till the 7th of June. That's always very exciting. And yes, there are actually quite a few other things. It's all on my website, or a lot of things aren't decided yet, so we'll find out in the next couple of weeks. Some things might be quite exciting. If somebody knows a cheap room in Venice during the Venice Biennale, that'd be really handy. So, but we don't know yet, so we'll see. But yeah, please come for Open Studios.
Great. So we're going into the final thoughts before we take a few questions from the audience. Any thoughts bubbling to the surface? I'll go through the questions.
Please. Yeah, please.
Are the idea of freedom and fear, are they natural bedfellows? Can one exist without the other? Do you enjoy both equally when it comes to jewellery?
I want to have freedom more. But yes, fear. But yes, life. I mean, you can't just choosing just a joy part. It's a both contrast. And as you probably started saying this, if we don't have a fear or some negative thought, we can't really drive ourselves pushing forward to. So I guess that's kind of yes, as a creator. Unfortunately, we have to deal with all these things, and
Well, I mean, that will be one of the nicest glasses of champagne as soon as I step off here. So you can't have the joy, it's the more joy. For having to go through the fear. And of course, being on a podium, which is one of my least favorite places. The joy will be then to kind of mingle, you know, and have conversations and be so grateful for everybody who came tonight and joined us. You know, that's a big joy. So yeah, huge thank you. And yes, the commissions, you know, it's. I mean, if I didn't take them on, those people might possibly then just buy something. But I think it's an extra joy of having made something special for one person. So I think there is an extra joy for all that fear. So yeah, we need to push ourselves. I think always, as soon as you're no longer, I mean, that's obviously true for everything. If you're not, if you're not a bit anxious, then if you're too comfortable, you're just illustrating, you're coasting along. So thank you very much.
Okay, so I think we're kind of almost up here. I'm sure we've got a chance for a few cheeky questions from the audience, if anyone has a microphone. We've got a first row person here.
Hi, Ute. Fear, the soaring gold and silver prices. I mean, gold was up around 65% last year, 26% the year before that, and is likely to stay high in the context of the Iran war. How are you responding to the challenge of soaring gold and silver prices, particularly as you use fair trade gold, which has an even higher premium above the spot price? Do you foresee, for example, the possibility that you may start compromising on purity of gold and coming down perhaps to, I don't know, 14 or 9 carat, or shifting into gold vermeil, or moving more into silver, or into other materials? And if so, which materials?
I mean, that was the talk at Goldsmiths Fair. How thin can you make your gold? It's like, you know, can you do kombu weight, you know, just a little, and I don't mind lower carats. I just find 18 carat has the perfect malleability and everything. It just is right for what I do. But there becomes a point where you just can't do it. You know, you might like diamonds, but you're not going to have your kitchen tops in diamonds because it's so. I think we just have to shift. I think, and I have actually gold in my safe because I'm very spontaneous. So when I have an idea, I want to make it right there and then. And because of fair trade gold, I order it. It takes 2-3 weeks and everything. So I keep a fair amount of gold in my safe, and I always think it's like, oh no, I bought it again at the height. So I actually have gold from 22 in my safe. So now I'm thinking, yes, but I feel like I can't make anything, because as soon as I give that gold, I will never ever be able to buy any more gold. I rarely wear my gold pieces, but I now start wearing them because I think if that sells, I'll never wear gold again. I think a lot of us will never wear gold. I mean, when interview with you, I think I said now is the best time to actually buy maybe still something, because it still is affordable. And of course, many pieces are being now melted in the refineries. Amazing work, because you get so much money. Or you can, of course, have your grandmother's gold, and a lot of jewelers do that. That is wonderful, and that has always been done. But I have also, I've always worked in gilding metal and copper, and I love those metals for patination. Wonderful. But of course they're unstable. So you get fingerprints, or but if Calder can use base metals, I think, and artsmiths and amazing jewelers like that, maybe I should just be less fearful. And actually there are quite a few collectors who who love the coloring of it, so I think I will go more into those kind of metals, possibly, and explore. Maybe exploring elephant dung next or something. But until then, we're kind of like. So yes, I think it's a real exciting time. Maybe because all the jewelry will have to move. So we're just at the cusp of, something quite historic.
Are you extending that question to Kayo, or are we happy with the answer?
Oh,
Kayo.
yes. Yes, I actually working with, normally silver and gold, but I start working with stones. So I buy the rocks and carving into myself, carving by myself, and that's kind of like a completely different way of working materials. And normally, to me, it's a metal. It's constructing something. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and constructing something. But it's a stone and wood. It's just a carving out. So it's completely using a different different part of brain to do, and that's quite fun to do, as well as I don't have to worry that much as using gold. I use the brass lately a little bit because I just wanted to have a contrast with metal and the wood. So that's why I started using brass. But to me, I don't know, I love the color of 18 karat gold.
Oh, who doesn't? Kayo? Who doesn't?
I know. It's to me, it's just that color. I really cannot go down. So if try to go down, I would rather just using silver and maybe some part combined with gold or something like that. Yeah. To me, it's 9 karat gold, for example. Here is much more common to. It's it's different, isn't it?
It's not an easy question. Any other uneasy questions out there? Any hands? Oh, hello.
Yeah, thank you. According to the same question about the price of gold and probably industry should change a bit. So my question would, maybe it's tricky. So let's imagine that you are a person who is decide, should it be changed or should it be getting back to traditional thinking? All this prices are getting back, so everyone afford the gold, and so. What would you prefer? Which side do you choose? So let industry be being changed or getting back to traditional.
So I think we're saying, would you prefer the push for new, unusual materials, possibly, or would you prefer it all to stay as it was? Is that what we're saying?
Kind of.
Yes.
It's always more comfortable staying where you are.
That's why it's a tricky question.
I quite, I think we're quite happy with silver and gold.
Well, we know the material well.
Yeah. But, here we come. Some people say it's going to go to 6,000. Some people say it's going to go 8,000, 9,000. I think the sooner you start to think of different ways, because there's only so thin you can make. Like in the end, we'll end up with a flea circus. We just imagine the gold.
Kayo?
Yes, I'm just thinking because it's really,
It's really difficult. I'm actually learning myself at the moment. It's just studying, what's around and other, jewelry company does and all these things. It's just the researching at the moment. And personally, I would like to continue to, the using metals and other materials, adding on it. Metal is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah,
And they started with metal, so it's quite a hard question for you two.
Yeah, and maybe kind of briefly a bit of on the negative side. Let's then ask a question that will bring us back into positivity. But putting back my hat of the political economist, it's with the gold prices going up, there are deposits, all over the world that people will now scramble to get anything out. The criminality in Latin America is enormous. I mean, drugs are not the issue. It's gold smuggling. The kind of social impact, this craze, this pure investment craze, this gambling has on lives is devastating. The whole Amazon, okay, not the whole Amazon, but being cut down for kind of gold deposits. I mean, we are in a very nice situation to talk who we like this art or that material as artists, but there's some real life-changing social, political instability that will foster as well. So there are real issues with that. I think we are very lucky in a situation that we can think what artistic material we'd like or not. I think that's actually...
Oh, there's a random voice from the darkness.
Yes.
Yes, I think that person might need a microphone.
Yeah.
It's also driven by fear, so that's another layer of fear that affects your process, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, that is also driven by a fear, by an external fear that in turn affects your internal fear, and it's another layer of fear to your process, but that you cannot control that.
Are we talking about what Ute's just said about the social impact, or are we talking about...
People want to
Yeah.
invest in gold right now
Yes.
because they're afraid to invest in anything else because they don't feel there's any other stability anywhere else, right?
Well, it's the
That's
most
why we
liquid
have this
commodity
problem.
in the world, so it's always the go-to when you have political uncertainty and volatility. But gold itself has become volatile. So the thing that's supposed to be the bedrock has become crazy. So this is why it's so difficult for world economies, artists, anyone who uses gold in any capacity is in flux. So if your base foundation is in flux, then we're all at sea. So I just have to leap in there as, like, from the economics point of view. So is your question that... What's your question?
It wasn't a question, it was just
It was a
continuing
thought.
the conversation.
We like you, and we're going to talk to you afterwards. Do we have one more question? One single, perfect last question. Oh, somebody out back there.
Hi there.
Hello.
Just extend my voice further. I actually wanted to talk about, this is a question for both of you, about the beginnings of your career. You both have a very strong artistic vision that's clearly recognizable in your work. I feel like in a lot of ways you managed to avoid traditional commerciality in your pieces, and I feel that maybe that's, I also make jewelry, that I have a fear centered around that, around how do you find your audience and get them to appreciate what you do in your early years when you're still, you have so many things you want to make, and so I wanted to hear about your experiences there, and how you found your collectors and your admirers that helped you continue making.
Very good last question. So, just to sum that up, we're saying, How do you find your audience? How do you, I suppose, sell without being too commercial? That kind of thing.
I wouldn't know how to find my audience. They find you, me. You know, it's like, yes, we show at we show at places, but it's we both. I mean, if I wear this on the tube coming home. By now, I put the gold away, the gold ring on the tube.
I would,
but I wear this, and I make a connection. That's also the beauty of jewelry, and not having a sculpture in a room, but actually having sculpture with you. That you make connections. I mean, there are actually several people in the audience who maybe we would have never met had I not worn this certain piece that particular evening. So I think jewelry can be a huge connector. And it's a shared sensibility, and it's a shared joy for jewelry lovers. It's like, oh my God, this is an interesting necklace. And before you know it, you're in conversation. So, I mean, there are jewelers who don't like to wear their work.
Me?
Yeah.
We weren't looking at you when we said that.
No. But, I make jewelry because I want to wear it. So I think a really important thing is it's not, I feel, other people will give you completely different advice, and this is not advice, this is just how I feel. If you're trying to find an audience, if you're trying to please somebody, if you're coming out and thinking, oh, this is maybe what I should be doing, then you're trying to please other people. But if you stay authentic and you have a voice and you feel like you have something strong to say, it will take a while. I mean, there are very few people who like that kind of, or would wear this kind of jewelry. But then, I only have two hands anyway, so it's, it works out. I mean, I'm surprised that I survive. But I have old friends, sometimes from Germany visiting me, and they briefly look at my website and they think, oh, she's in a museum, she's showing there and she's showing there, and then they come and I show them my 1-bedroom flat, and they think, is there another room? We make expensive things. I spend hours, hundreds of hours dedicating, making. You'll never be. If you're not commercial, you'll never be rich. But that's fine by me. I'm comfortable enough. So,
Yeah, it could be true, people finding you, but be not shy to showing your pieces in different categories, different galleries, different art fairs. Anything, I remember the beginning, I decided to say myself, I don't say no. Anything coming, anything somebody, galleryist or whoever wanted to show your work, I never chose from just the beginning. But I just say yes, as much as I could do. And because then I didn't know where my clients are, who likes my work, I didn't know. So it's just a try and then you learn, this is not my place to be. And gradually, sorry, I'm just more like a really practical side I'm saying. But yes, that was my beginning. And I just say, I tried all my possibility. And once you can choose and you know where you're going and it's getting clearer. And then choosing right galleries, maybe, right art fairs, that's, you will find it on your way.
And I would also just say, as an observer of jewellery, you've got to take risks and be scared to do things you think your mind is saying, don't do that, that's a stupid thing to do, and you do it, and it's different. So I see a lot of jewellery And sometimes it is just a lot of jewellery, you know, and other times you see something that just stops you in your tracks. So I think embracing the fear and taking risks. And then also, it's sometimes hard for designers to show it to people in the beginning because it's terrifying. So you have to get over that. And then you suddenly do something and everyone turns and looks at you. And it sometimes can take quite a long time for that to happen. So, you know, if we were all here to be millionaires, we'd probably be lawyers or something. Ultimately, if it's not feeding your soul, then maybe, you know, take it more of a risk, really. But it is risky business. And I think that brings us to the end, the real end of the talk. So I'm going to say thank you to Ute and Kayo for joining us and bearing their souls. It's never easy. Thank you for the audience for being so hilarious. And I suspect that we have Tamara to close us out, giving us a few words of some kind of wisdom. Oh, she's just saying thank you. Thanks to everyone for coming.
We'll have another talk in a few months. So if you want to stay in touch, let us know. Share your email if you haven't already. And I hope to see you soon.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mel, for your
Thank you.
inspirational
Thank you
questions.
very much.
Thank
Yes.
you so much for coming, everybody. Thank you.